Good morning, Flosstube. I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. It is Thursday, January 17th, although it may be the 18th before I get this uploaded. And I have some stuff I want to share with you today. Last video, I talked about wanting to get outside of my comfort zone. I decided that my first step, which I can't remember if I filmed that video the morning I went up to Acorns and Threads or the morning before that, but I decided that an easy step out of my comfort zone would be to try to get back to stitching on linen. I stitched on linen back in my first round of cross stitching, but I haven't picked it up since I packed it away because of my eyesight, which is not what it was 15 years ago. So I had a kit that I had found at the thrift store, Goodwill, for 99 cents. It is Open a New Box, just another button company, and I finished it. I expected to be showing you a partially stitched beginning of this, but I finished it quickly, more quickly than I expected. When I was at the thrift store looking at this kit, all I saw was a Ziploc baggie, and it had the very distinctive Just Another Button Company buttons in it, and it was 99 cents, and my brain went, oh, those buttons are expensive, they're worth that. Immediately followed by, I don't usually put buttons on things, but I talked myself into spending the 99 cents, and there was no picture with the kit. It had the linen, it had all the fancy flosses, it had the buttons, it had the chart, but it didn't have a picture. As soon as I Googled it and saw the box of crayons, I knew that I wanted to stitch this. The previous stitcher who owned it had stitched the blue crayon, just the tip of it, and I thought about picking it out. My first instinct was that I wanted all of the stitching in the project to be my own stitching, except first I worried that if I picked it out I might not have enough floss to restitch it, and the other thing I worried about was that the blue floss might have left some dye on the linen. So my plan was to go up to Acorns and Threads and count the stitches, get my bearings, and leave the blue in and go from there. There was a really scary incident with the traffic on I-5 on the way up to Acorns and Threads, and by the time I got there, I sat there for a while building my nerve back up and recovering before I started stitching, and by the time I did start stitching, I didn't think to count the stitches on the blue crayon. It turns out she had made some mistakes, and then I made mistakes based off of her original mistake, assuming the previous stitcher was a lady, I have no idea. And then I made a lot of my own mistakes, so it's kind of a disaster, but it proves I can stitch on linen if I want to, and if I stitch on linen again, which I will because I have plenty of it in my stash, I'm going to use something that's not this unevenly woven or this slubby. I decided I like this, it's adorable, I don't want to have it on my wall forever and ever, and I think it would make a wonderful project bag, so I'm going to leave the buttons off. And I'm just going to tuck it away in my box of stuff I've tucked away until I find in my stash good fabric to make it a project bag with. Other step out of my comfort zone, I found, not sure, a couple weeks, months ago, these really cute stickers at the Dollar Tree. They're mason jars, and they're a hard translucent plastic, and I knew I wanted to make them into needle minders because I love mason jars, and they fit thematically with so much of the stuff I want to stitch. Gluing it to the foam board and cutting it out and making it suitable for a needle minder wasn't the scary part. I don't know why I am so scared of that glue, guys. It took me months to work up the nerve to open the tube of glue. Then I talked to my daughter, and she's like, oh, the cosplayers all use it, it's like hot glue, it's fine. I did get it all over my fingers, and it washed off, and that was probably my biggest fear. So Love my needle minders. I have since seen that it looks like they have stickers that are similar to these that are perfume bottles, so now I am on a quest for those. I did do a little tutorial of how I put the needle minder together, so if you want to see that, I'll put a link in the description box. The thrift stores have not been kind to me lately, but I did find Erica Wilson's Children's World, needlework ideas from childhood classics, and based on the cover, I was expecting Winnie the Pooh. It's got the Muppets and Beatrix Potter and the Water Babies and Babar and Cruel and Applique and just all kinds of fun stuff. I did a flip through in my previous video, so if you want to check that out, I will also put in a link to that. So my other finish to share with you, I have been showing you this shawl. It's supposed to be about twice the size. Something went wrong. My best guess is that I knit the same row twice from the chart, but after spending a good 2 or 3 hours picking out the row and restitching the row, I could not make it work. And I didn't have the heart to unravel the entire thing and start. I want this shawl. I want a shawl in this pattern. I love this yarn. I have been planning this shawl for at least 13 years. I knew that if I unraveled the whole thing, I was not going to turn around and start right back over, because I can't do that. I can start over with a different pattern, but to do the same thing a second time when I don't know where the first one went wrong, I don't have that kind of faith. So I've got probably at least 25 hours of knitting into this thing. I bound off the good lace, and I'm calling it a finished shawl, and when the sting of messing up wears off a little bit, I will knit the full shawl later. Not this week. Some stash acquisition, very tiny bit. I ordered this just after Christmas, before the new year. I'm still enamored with the Briolus kits, and I love cuckoo clocks. And some of the kits that I was looking at before Christmas are gone off of Amazon's site, so I can't remember, this was cheap. It was like $17. So I ordered it, and I have it, and I'm going to stitch it. And I really thought I wanted to stitch it right away, except then I looked at the back of the package and got to looking at this one and thinking that I love that. I love the clock and the shelf and the whole little dollhousey furniture aspect of it. I had it from Christmas, so I think this may be my next start, except I change my mind every 37 seconds. So it might not. I talked about the Dimensions Gold Kit European Bistro that I am deeply, deeply coveting. It's not a very expensive kit, but I'm trying to be restrained in my buying. And I have made a deal with myself. When I finish All Is Calm, I can order European Bistro guilt-free. I could order it now. It's not a case, it's not whether I could, it's whether I should. So I am going to try to use this to motivate myself, and I may change my mind and buy the kit without finishing it. And I can do that because there are no stash buying police. So that's the plan. I pulled out a little girl with Cosmos. I have this bit on her dress to finish and a little bit here on her shoes. And I was up at 5 this morning working on the grass by her shoes, which is really boring and really not at all fun. And I think that if she wasn't listed on my project planner, and I had to keep transferring the name of the project from month to month and seeing that I hadn't worked on it in so long, I probably would set her aside at this point, but she is so close to done. I am going to finish her. I am hoping I can finish her this month, but I don't know if I'm going to have that much free time. We'll see what happens. And because I love full coverage, and I want more full coverage to work on, I pulled out this one. This is Sanctuary by Marty Bell. And I know this looks like a photocopy, but this is the chart. This is the real chart that I ordered from whoever I ordered this from, and that's how the picture of the chart is. I love this one. I remember planning to buy the chart and buying the chart. I don't remember stitching any of this. I did it back before I packed all my stitching away. And when I packed all of my stitching away, we were moving into the new house, and I can't remember exactly at what point in the process I packed everything away. I had a newborn and I had a 6-month-old and was pregnant, and then I had a 15-month-old and a newborn, so mommy brain did a number on me. And I'm assuming that's why I don't know what I was doing when I was doing it. I took and this is all the floss for Sanctuary. I had it in project bags, but I took it out and bobbinated it and sorted it by number. And if I could do Stone Hutch, I can do this. What I'm hoping is that there's not a mistake lurking in there somewhere that I have forgotten about, because that would make me sad. Oh, shout out. I have been watching a new to me channel, Skylark Stitch. I am not sure where she is from. English is not her first language, but her videos and her projects, they're really brief and enthusiastic, and I am loving the projects she's working on and the way she talks about her projects. I'll put a link to her in the description down below. That's everything on the list of things I had to talk to you about today. I am going to continue trying to venture out of my comfort zone. There's been a really interesting discussion over on the Stitchers Coven on Facebook about what projects we're afraid to start and why we shouldn't be afraid to start. I spend a tremendous amount of time getting in my own way and telling myself that if I don't start it, then I can't ruin it, and that maybe I should start it later. And honestly, sometimes that's justified, because 5 a.m. knitting wasn't a bad idea on the morning I did whatever I did on the shawl. And Amy posted on I think it was on Stitchers Coven, that she believed she could, but she was really tired, so she didn't, or words to that effect. I think that describes last year for me. Between being tired and hiding in my comfort zone and procrastinating, I didn't push myself at all, and I am working to push myself farther and more, not to a crazy extent, just enough. I've been using the pressure cooker. I made lima beans, which I am ridiculously proud of. I also made a bunch of other stuff, but the lima beans are my happy accomplishment for the moment. I will be back with another video soon. I'm working on a tutorial for making a bag with a zipper that you don't have to sew the zipper in, that I think is going to be really cute if I can dig out my sewing machine and get it to cooperate. Hopefully I'll have that within the next few days. And I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching.